was collecting all information, copies of documents, of testimonies, of everything, of especially the testimonies.
Yeah.
And I won't call any names, but at the last day of the FINSAC, of the inquiry, the legal advisor just walked over to me and put a document in my hand. And I never got a chance to look at it at the time, but he has since passed, and I have included it on the website. Now, what I have there also, it's a lot of documentation, and it has the testimonies where everybody, the banks, Omar Davis, Errol Campbell, and the amount of illegalities that has taken place, because what a lot of...
You mute yourself, miss. Miss Boss, you mute yourself. Unmute the thing, Miss Boss. Yeah.
Are you hearing me? You hearing?
Yeah, unmute yourself. Don't touch the mute button. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, what took place? For example, Omar Davis testified his own testimony when he was asked by one of the commissioners what was happening in the banks. And his words were, and this is verbatim, the banks were dealing in activities that would turn my hair white. Okay? And those activities were, and what never became public, is the fact that when the debtors or anybody go to the bank and you want a loan, no matter what size, you have to carry a collateral, a title for some form of collateral to guarantee you paying back the loan. Now, if you say you carry a collateral for a property that value at $2 million, but you only borrow $1 million, so you have another $1 million free, to use. What you didn't know is that when you walk away from the bank, the very bank managers were using the people's titles to borrow money, and it was not being paid back.
Yeah.
Okay? And another thing is that you sign a demand loan. My husband signed a demand loan for 18% interest. And the loan, within a month of doing that, the interest rate went to 120%.
Yeah.
And the bank don't advise you. You did not know. You just kept getting the invoices for payment, and you're paying, and you're paying, and you're paying. My husband borrowed $10 million. He paid back $52 million, and they still said he owed $87 million.
Oh, man. Repeat that again.
He borrowed $10 million. He was in construction.
Yeah.
He paid back $52 million, and they still said he owed $87 million.
So that means he paid back over 500%.
That's right, and this happened to all the debtors.
$87 million.
There was one debtor who, he was a small contractor. He borrowed not a lot of money. He borrowed from NCB.
Yeah.
And after a few months passed, and him realized that him keep paying every month, and yet there are balances. And NCB sued him, had the nerve to sue him. And when he went to court, he told the court, the judge, that he had receipts for every payment he made, which was a lot more than what he borrowed. And the judge tell him, bring your receipts, come let us see it. And NCB, you bring copies of the receipts that the man pay as well. And when they went back, the lucky thing, the man's wife was a what do you call it? Business. She was in business, and kept all the legal documents and monetary documents. And when they collected all the receipts, what the man didn't even recognize until he took it to the judge at the court was that on every receipt that he paid and got back the receipt was a different account number, and there's only one account he had.
So where is his husband now? Is he alive, still alive?
No, I lost him on December 23, 2023. And what is actually is because the website I do it in his memory and in memory of all the people who died because of FINSAC. Because he was diagnosed with cancer the very same week that they hit us with what was going on. He never recovered from it. Never recovered.
They got told on him, yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, what happened is that because I have...
You can put the website in the chat.
Our condolences.
Yeah, thank you so much.
My condolences, Buzz.
Yeah, Miss Buzz.
Could I get the name of the website?
Yeah, it's the FINSAC Conspiracy. And I have a Facebook page on the FINSAC Conspiracy. And I posted the link.
Is it a .com or a .org or?
No, it's hold on 1 second.
Yeah, so you can type it in the chat so people can see.
Squid it.
Hold on.
Squid it.
Hold on.
Squid it.
Come on.
Hold on.
Once you type into Google the FINSAC conspiracy, it comes up automatically. I'm on the side now.
Is
Oh, you understand?
this it?
I actually screenshot everything off of the site already, just in case they delete
this
it.
it?
Because you know they will attack the site. So I made sure I screenshot everything and then send it back to somebody else.
Is this it, Miss Buzz?
Is that it, Miss Buzz? Look at it.
I can't see.
Look on the screen, on the big screen.
No, I see.
It has to be.
FINSAC Conspiracy.
That is the website. I call it the FINSAC Conspiracy too, but the picture that I see,
Facebook. That's a Facebook squitty.
that's the Facebook. Yeah, that's what I see. With the
Is that it?
No. Yeah. Yes, that is the the website is the FINSAC Conspiracy. But I'm going to send you the link.
That's a Facebook.
Yeah, that's the Facebook.
Yeah, when I Google it, that's what come up.
Yeah, if you go to the Facebook, the link is on the Facebook page. It's on that same FINSAC Conspiracy. I just put it there a couple of days ago, 2 or 3 days ago.
But Joshua said, I already find the Facebook.
Facebook, yeah.
No, Joshua find the link for the website.
Oh, he did. Okay, fantastic.
Okay, all right. Continue, Miss Buzz. Continue.
Yeah. Well, as I say, you know, a lot of people have passed. People committed suicide, and at one point, Bruce Golding was the only politician that mentioned and made the comment that something needs to be done. All the other politicians, they use it as a target point when they're running, like election time now. You hear them blaming the other party about FINSAC. But it doesn't matter which party. None of them have ever come back and say, let us do this for the FINSAC people. If they ever knew what the trauma that was instituted on these people, and when they come and throw you out of the house, you don't get no notice. They just throw 7 o'clock one morning with a truck and throw your things out. That's how they treated us.
Mm-hmm.
And another issue that is there that people don't understand, a lot of those politicians are living on FINSAC property now. We don't know whether they pay for them or not, because what they have done, the title for these properties, once they take it over, those titles have disappeared from the titles office.
So they create them one title.
What Sandra Minot Phillips, Peter Phillips' wife, she's the attorney at Miles Fletcher Gordon that handled all the documentation for them, the legalities.
Oh, I see.
Illegalities, yeah.
I see.
Yeah, because what happened is that, for example, the house that Peter Phillips occupied at first, the title was transferred from the bank to, remember they had formed FINSAC, they formed another company called Refin Trust. Well, Refin Trust was Sandra Minot Phillips' baby, because the title was transferred from the bank to Refin Trust. And the same day that it was transferred to Refin Trust, it was transferred to Peter Phillips. He and the wife name on the title. The same day.
Ah,
the same day. So did money pass? We have no idea. And we are under the impression no money passed to pay for it.
okay.
You see, so that's how they go to work. And then he doesn't live in the house anymore, but his son does, Michael, or whatever his name is, lives in the house. And a lot, the other thing is that the title for all of these that they want hidden is there is a building down on Connolly Avenue. I don't remember the number of it, but that's where anything they don't want you to find out, that's where they're storing it. Because somebody who have a business beside it saw them rolling in with pickup truck and car full of documents and things loading into the building. And the building had been locked up for years. And they left a security there. So after them drive off, the guy who was next door went and asked the security what it is that they're moving in. And then tell them that it's already the FINSAC document.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What name of the building?
It doesn't have a name on it. It's a building that has been locked up, just a concrete building.
On Connelly Road?
On Connolly Avenue, yeah.
Connelly Avenue.
I don't remember exactly where in Connolly it is.
Connelly Avenue in New Kingston?
No, Connolly is up, across from Michael, where Michael College is. Going down the hills.
Yeah, you pass it and go on, yes, yeah.
Right. When you pass El PSR, it's on the left.
Right here.
Yeah.
I know exactly where she's talking about. It's always
Yeah, man, you walk into the post office and go on,
yes, and you always wonder what is over there because I used to go to micro primary and we were not allowed to play in front of the building.
Yes. Yeah, them see doing that.
Need more individual like this to come up and explain to the Jamaican people the magnitude of what those people have done to the Jamaican people. That is what we need, Because all along me I say that people now recognize the evilness what they have done to the citizens of Jamaicans, I tell people that all along, We need more people like this to come out and tell the people of Jamaica what Mark Golden, Peter Bunting, Omar Davis has done to the country,
Yeah, man.
All right. Open discussion. Make she continue. And then we can have a discussion.
And people die. For all
Yes,
this.
hold on, guys. Yeah,
Gentlemen, let you finish. Let you continue. People want to hear.
There's a couple from Mandeville during the time, the church people, wife and husband, and I don't remember exactly how much offhand they just basically robbed them, and they didn't show up to church the Sunday morning, and they're in church normally every Sunday. So someone from the church, they decided to send and check on them because they knew they were going through the whole traumatic thing of FINSAC. And when they got to the house, the car was in the driveway, them knock on the door, nobody answered. So they called the police to knock down the door and let them get in. When they went in, wife and husband hanging from the ceiling, and left a note on the dining table stating, I cannot go on one more day with the noose of FINSAC around my neck.
Oh, my.
Let me tell you, at one point I felt as if I was carrying the burden of the whole 44,000 people. When we formed the association, I was not the president. Neville Box was the president. And he was in construction with my husband. And that's how we decided to form the group, because we realized that a lot of people were affected. And within months of it, Neville was diagnosed with cancer, and within weeks he was gone. Within weeks, he was dead. His wife was devastated. One other man that made windows, I don't remember his name, he was told that he owed $12 million. And when he called me the morning, he was going down to Jamaica Redevelopment to pay the $12 million. I said, Miss B, I go down, I can't get back my title now. About an hour and a half after I spoke to him, I see my phone ring. and with his number. So when I say hello, 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 he's not answering. So I hung up and I called his office to find out if he had gotten back there. He hadn't got back there. I said, well, you guys need to go and find him, because he told me he was going down to Jamaica Redevelopment to pay off what they owe. He borrowed money from family and friends overseas. And when them went, he had a heart attack in his car.
Man.
After him dialed me, he couldn't even talk. He just had a heart attack. And what happened was that he went down there. He gave them the check for $12 million, waiting to get a receipt and things.
And he died right there.
Them come back, come tell him, say, owe more money.
Oh, man. That gave me a heart attack.
He had a heart attack on the way back to his office in his car.
Oh, man.
He had pulled over.
Them people are dangerous, you know, man. Wicked people.
And you want to know something? When they formed, remember it was a Dennis Jocelyn who came first, and called his company Beal Bank. And it's a setup, basically, because he called it Beal Bank. He registered it in Jamaica as a company, Beal Bank, as to give the people the impression it's a bank. All he was a collection agency. Now, what happens after he died? This guy, Jason Rudd, came in and took over what he started and formed in Jamaica and the US, Jamaica Redevelopment Foundation. This company is another collection agency, and he has been repatriating all of that money out of Jamaica, billions and billions of dollars. And I went and checked on a what I call the chat GPT, and this man has not paid a cent to the Internal Revenue Service as taxes. And I am sending this website to the Revenue Service in the US, so them see how much money he's bringing in and not paying for it. Because at the inquiry, the documents, the business people documents that was handed over to Jamaica Redevelopment. Can you imagine the banks never kept copies? Errol Campbell stated, and he was the manager of FINSAC, they never kept copies. They just handed everybody's business and homes to Jamaica Redevelopment, and they get payment every month for it. You know how much billions of dollars he has collected? And Jamaica is...
So you contact some relevant authorities in the States about this?
I haven't yet, but I'm going to, because I have a copy of the agreement. I have their copy of the agreement that was signed between the government and Jamaica Redevelopment Foundation. And they're supposed to be paying the Jamaican government 15% from every property that has been sold. And they have not been paying it. Remember?
Miss Buzz, just a minute. I want to encourage you that with this information that you're releasing and with what you said you plan to do, that if you have security personnel, ask them to be ultra vigilant.
No, guess what? I'm not in Jamaica anymore. I'll just leave it at that.
Right. Make sure that you take all the necessary precaution, whether or not you're here, whether or not you're in Jamaica. You're dealing with mercenaries, and mercenaries are ruthless people.
During the inquiry, they followed me one morning, the morning that my husband was supposed to go down and testify. Somebody followed me down there, and I saw the car when we left the house. And when and I'm way up in Stony Hill. And on Trafalgar Road, when I reach Trafalgar to turn off to go turn to Pegasus, I see the road, the car is still behind me. So I said to my husband, somebody is following us. He said, how you know? I said, because when we were coming down the hill from the house, I saw them. And that is 5-10 miles away, and them still behind me. So when I got into Pegasus and went through the security to the parking lot, I stopped and I said to the security, that red car that is behind me, don't let him in here because he has been following me from I left my house. So when I drove into the parking lot and I'm looking back, the security let down the barrier and went out and was talking to him. And for a good while, so I didn't come out of the car, we just sat down there and waited. And then we see him reverse and drive out. So the security didn't let him in. So when we were walking into Pegasus, I asked the security, I said, who was he and what did he want? He said, listen, tell me some whole heap of story about him coming to do something or other. It's not as if to say he was following you. I said, but he has been following me from a left.
You're not going to say that.
He's not going to say that, you see.
But tell us about the hearing, Miss Buzz. Tell us about the hearing.
What Sandra Minor Phillips did, I mean, in collusion with everything that was going on with all the politicians, they changed the Money Lending Act because the Money Lending Act, the Jamaican Money Lending Act at the time, specifically stated that only banks or monetary institutions that can charge interest on loans or anything. Yet, they changed the Money Lending Act to allow Jamaica Redevelopment Foundation to charge interest. There's Mr. Ramsey, Harold Ramsey. There's 17 properties he lost in Mandeville, including a hardware store, a construction company. And he could not come to the inquiry because he had a heart problem, and the doctors advised him, do not go to the inquiry. And he came a couple of days, and then he was so distraught, having lost so many properties. And he just lay down in his bed one day and tell his wife, I don't want nothing more to eat. Don't give me not even water. Just leave me alone. And he lay down there until he passed. And can you believe that I spoke to his wife, I think a couple of years ago, or sometime last year, and she told me she get a bill from Jamaica Redevelopment Foundation for how much $1 million that she said something over 500 million them owe on the loan and interest. So I said to her, which part your husband buried? Send a letter to Jamaica Redevelopment if you want, I'll write it for you. And let them know where I'm buried. So tell them they can go to go collect the money.
Exactly, yes. No.
I mean, at this stage, and this is just a damn collection agency.
Yeah. So tell us about the hearing, Miss Buzz. Tell us about the hearing.
The inquiry?
Yeah.
Here is the testimonies that were given. There was so many things that was said, and because the banks, as I say, the very bank managers were borrowing money on the people's properties and the people's title. And that was what caused the interest rate to be going up. And the people loan just kept, the more you pay is the more you owe. The more you pay is the more you owe. And at one point I had to tell my husband, I said, listen, stop paying them. If I had the money to pay them, I would sue them. I would use that money and sue them. But of course, they're all covering up for each other. And then I have Omar Davis' brother, one of his brother was living in Stony Hill. And my husband knew the brother. And one evening, the son of the brother called my husband and asked, do you have issues with FINSAC and the bank and things? So he says, yes. Why you ask? They were up at somebody's house, one of the politician's house, one Sunday evening, with a list of all the properties that everybody's digging out to see who want which one, and this one want this one. And that's what they were doing.
Oh.
You see, that's basically, it was one, let me tell you, you don't understand what the people. One woman in the morning, they were throwing her out of her house. She called me, and I left my house. I didn't live far from her to give her some moral support. And when I arrived up to her house in the morning, police there, the bailiff and whomever, the woman literally stood outside her door with the urine running down her legs. She was shaking.
Oh my.
Shaking. And they started laughing at her. She lost everything. because you see, when they come to throw you out of your house, you don't have time even. We took them to court. Is a guy named Joshua Thomas got our house, and he is close association with the Manleys. And we went to court to ask him to give us time to find somewhere to live. And he refused with some expletives at us. And they just showed up 7 o'clock in the morning, no notice, to throw you out. And that was one of the things that killed Neverbox, because the morning that they were throwing us out, he didn't live far from us. And he passed and saw what was happening. By this time, they locked the gate, they wouldn't let anybody in, and never threatened them and say, you better move from the whatnot gate or drive my vehicle straight through you this morning. And he did exactly that and licked down the gate and came in.
What?
Yes. Yeah. You see, but the very bailiff who came there, what happened is that my husband had started operating the office out of the house. And because we couldn't afford the rent after a while, and he had to close down the office but continued in the office at the house. And when the bailiff that came the morning that they came to throw us out realized that we were operating, he asked me, he said, tell me something, are you running your office from the house? I said, yes. He said, but they cannot throw you out like that, lady. They're supposed to give you time as long as your office is running. And then call the guy who's buying the house and let him know you cannot throw them out like this. They are running their office because all the equipment my husband had, he was in construction. Backhoe, flatbed truck, concrete mixers were all at the back of the yard.
Oh man. So they lose anything there.
No, we didn't lose them because he had to give us time to come back and get them. We moved out that day.
Okay.
But he gave us time to go back and get them. But that's how it was, like a hold down takeaway. Basically. Very traumatic. I didn't see my husband the whole day. The helper told me he was at the back of the house. And when we moved out and moved to another place, one of his cousin's place, for 2 weeks he never spoke. Not a word, not good morning, nothing come out of his mouth. And I had to sit him down one day and say, listen to me, let it go. There's no money that can buy a coffin big enough to put a house in it. Let it go. After a while, it finally, he mellowed into it, because I said, listen, we will survive, no matter what. Yeah. We will survive. And it's only the grace of God. The grace of God that kept us. But it took a very heavy toll on a lot of people. Few people died, people that were FINSAC and even people who were working with the people, because all the companies that shut down, you have to realize that all those people lose work too.
And it is something that I have often mentioned, Ms. Buzz. One of the questions I want to ask you, do you by any chance have a listing of the names of the companies or businesses that went under as a result of FINSAC, and also the names of the homeowners and their properties?
I have it, but I don't have it where I am right now.
No, you don't. You don't have to have it with you now. It's important that you create a second listing and forward it to someone who you trust.
Somebody in Jamaica has it. But also, there's a listing there of the people who got write-offs. And the people who got write-offs include the politician Audley Shaw, the whole of them name, on it.
Right.
You see? So, I want the amount of things that is on the website. I mean, it is going to take a while for anyone who wants to go through and really see. Because even with Omar Davis changing the Money Lending Act, which is illegal, and it's according to his instructor. The Bank of Jamaica people testified at the inquiry that they begged Omar Davis, let us sit down and talk with the people. Let us sit down and work out the things with them so that they
Uh,
can
uh,
they refuse.
Miss Buzz,
Uh,
what you have touched on is very important. Do you know who was Omar Davis's advisor at the time? Regarding FINSAC and all of those things.
I don't know that he specifically had an advisor because he did things on his own. I know that Deloitte and Touche, that international accounting firm, told him, advised him, the government cannot form a private company and use it to take away people's properties. It is illegal. He was told that by an accountant.
Well, unfortunately, there's Mark Golding boasted about him being Omar Davis's advisor at the time. Unfortunately, Mark Golding boasted publicly, it's on record, that he was Omar Davis's advisor.
No, you can tell me, and them get the sweetheart deal. They are the ones who got the sweetheart deal. It is in my website. Right. It is on my website.
We will read it, but we wanted to continue with your discourse because, when we try to educate Jamaicans on the ravages of FINSAC, in fact, I take it a bit further, and it's a follow-up to the first question. Mm-hmm. One of the things I've oftentimes said, and I even said it earlier, that for every registered business, Jamaica is a largely informal society. And for every registered business, there's at least 5 informal business.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So if it's 44,000 registered business, which is a formal business, then if you times that by 6, because now you're going to have both formal and informal combined, you're going to end up with 264,000 businesses. And then if you say that each business on an average employ about 10 persons, on an average, when you average it out, you're talking about 260,000 persons, directly affected, not to mention those indirectly affected as a result of the ravages of this FINSAC thing. And 40% of our GDP that was wiped out. And for those who may want to have a better understanding of what that means, it means that $40 out of every $100 went down the drain as a result of FINSAC.
That's right, because although my husband's company was Anchor Development, and he also had another company, Mills U Drive, which he used that for the equipment. He used to rent out the equipment to other people who needed them. So that was an additional company out of Anchor, So he had about 3 other companies. You're right. You're totally right.
Yeah. Where in Kingston? What? You don't have to tell me exactly where. Was it close to Retirement Road? Because when I used to operate a business and I used to rent construction equipment as a result of.
He had his office was on Melmac Avenue, and then it went to right across from Guardian Life.
Oh, you mean Constant Spring Road or Beach or New Kingston?
New Kingston.
Okay.
New Kingston.
Okay.
All right, make you continue.
Continue, sir. Continue, ma'am. I'm sorry.
Even thermoplastics. Do you know thermoplastics? They were doing excellent. I have it on the website. I don't remember the exact amount of money, but Thermoplastics had the loan with his bank, and different partners. His father, the Sulme's father, had come from Haiti, and he and PJ Patterson were close friends, and he was giving the People's National Party donation. Every month he was drawing a check to the People's National Party. And one day PJ told him, said the party don't need the money, must give the money to him. So the check started going to PJ.
Wow.
When they took over thermoplastics, one of the Sulme's son, John De Sulme's son, was doing his medical at the University of the West Indies. When the interest rate started to really go up and he went to start getting out of control, he delayed sometime in the monthly payment, but the company was making a hell lot of money. And he had a partner, friend, who was in Switzerland. And when them threatened to close him down, you see, what he didn't know was that some politician had sites on that company. So he asked for time to find money to pay. He went to Switzerland, where he had a partner friend there, provide the money. Came back to Jamaica with the money to pay off the loan. Go into the bank, pay it off, only for thermoplastics to be taken over.
It's interesting that you said that, though, Miss Buzz, because Anthony Levy, I don't know if you know, well, you should know him. He's the first franchisee of Popeyes in Jamaica.
Yeah.
Right? He was a lawyer. He had his office on Duke Street.
Yeah. He represented thermoplastics. Yeah.
Right. And he also gave a very similar story, about having that kind of experience,
Yes. Yeah. Because what happened now, the attorneys in Jamaica, Anthony Levy, David Wonken would help us off the record because he was also FINSAC. He left Jamaica eventually.
You mean Anthony Levy?
No, Anthony died. He went to the US.
Wow,
And,
I didn't know.
He passed. Yeah. He died about 5 or 6 years ago.
Okay.
And
continue. You said he would help you off the record.
Right. Because we went to, what's this English lawyer name again? Gifford. Lord Gifford, you remember him?
Yes, ma'am.
We approached him to assist us handle our case because we were about to file a case against the government. And he told us, he said, listen, if I take your case, I would be doing to you exactly what FINSAC is doing to you. And I would not feel good because you're not going to win. Nobody's going to win in Jamaica. He says, what's going on? And what we found out was the attorneys in Jamaica were being threatened. Government was giving them work. And the same thing with the media houses. The government gives them sponsorship and threatens them that if you say anything about FINSAC or do anything to help FINSAC, you're going to lose the work. That's what we used to call nationwide.
What year was this, Miss Buzz?
This was 2008, 9, 10, 11. Because remember, I was on Mutty Perkins almost every day. Mutty used to call me to come down and sit down in his office and go on air and tell the people what's going on.
So you're saying that those who were engaged, because that's what I understand, those who were originally engaged in this FINSAC debacle, sought to threaten the persons because they didn't want the FINSAC, the ravages of FINSAC be exposed?
That's right. As a matter of fact, I used to call Gleaner Company and send press releases to the Gleaner Company. And the guy that I was sending it to there called me one day and said, listen, we can't print anything more about FINSAC. And what is going to happen whenever you send anything here, it has to go to their legal department for them to vet it and decide whether they can print it or not. And they stopped everything. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. You see, Ken Gammon was the only attorney that started representing some of the people, but most of them could not afford to pay him. No, poor Kent was a young man, and he did not realize. He actually was Edward Seaga godson, and this is why he came in and tried to assist us as best he could. He took on a lot of things without being paid for it. He has left Jamaica since. He has left Jamaica. David Wonken left Jamaica. All of the attorneys. And the ones who stayed there told us they cannot handle it. They can't carry anything for FINSAC. Nobody who cannot afford. They cannot afford.
Miss Buzz, you contact any authorities in Jamaica to talk about this?
If what?
You contact any like the PM or so to talk about this story?
No, they're not going to do it. That's why I said nationwide. We used to go on nationwide too, and then The last time that I spoke to Nationwide was right at the end of the inquiry, and then when I called there one day to see if I could get on air, she told me point blank, we're not carrying anything for FINSAC anymore. And then what I'm realizing, I was listening to Nationwide every day and realized because in their commercials, a lot of them are government sponsored. And that's how I know.
Who was listening to Nationwide every day?
I was literally listening to them because a lot of the people would go on Nationwide and talk about it, and then they just stop. They tell me they're not talking about FINSAC anymore.
When
I was told by a lady that used to work with the Prime Minister, which one now? Lois Lois. She said she actually knew because it's Bruce Golding. She was Bruce Golding's secretary, and Bruce Golding sent her down to the inquiry one day, a couple of days to come in and listen, see what's going on down there, because he needed to know.
Maybe you should contact NNN now and ask Judge Davis and contact John Davis. I think we can make it about it.
Arvin Cliff.
No, Cliff not doing it.
Judge Davis.
Okay, never call and see. Never.
Miss Buzz, I'm going to make a suggestion to you. You see, you and I may probably have to link up in order to get it done, though. I have a publisher that I use, you see?
Yeah.
And you could probably get an audio book to be done at a fairly reasonable cost. I can give you our contacts, but we'll have to reach out to each other behind the scenes. And you do the audio book, and in addition to that, I'm also suggesting that after all of that is over, that you reach out to a media house. Some of these media houses do stories, especially series, you know. And when I said a media house, I'm talking an overseas media house, you know, where they will gladly do. See, in fact, you can sell them the story, so you don't just give it, but you benefit from it. You sell them the story because this story needs to be told all over the world.
Yeah, I planned on calling the Miami Herald because while the inquiry was going on, Miami Herald had written a couple of articles about it.
Right, but also I'm talking about TV stations where they're gonna sit down and, you know, tell them that you don't wish for your image to be shown unless it's gonna be blurred and you know, or they put you behind the screen and you give that. But do the book first, because they may want to have exclusive rights to it. But if you do the book and they get wind of the book now, you can say, hey, listen to this, and you know, no part may be copied without my explicit consent. Of course, your lawyer is going to be involved, and let the story come out. But as I said, make sure that everything that you do, you cover your tracks. If you're making a phone call, you use a VPN to reroute where your location and all of those things. You know, so you take the necessary precautions, because these people are mercenaries. They'll get rid of you.
I know.
Yeah.
That's the reason why I decided to leave Jamaica after my husband passed. And I said, you know, I'm getting out of here. So,
Sweetie, so why these people are fighting to get power though?
Hold on there. Miss Buzz, have you ever considered...
Because I will finish our story now. Let's finish.
Yeah, let you finish. I just want to ask her one thing. Miss Buzz, have you ever considered contacting the Secret Service?
not really.
But they're the
Secret
ones...
Service is for a different purpose, sir.
No. The Secret Service are the ones who investigate money laundering and every illegalities with the US dollar. They're the ones who take this case in the US.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Just look it up, Miss Buzz. It might be of interest to you. It is something that I want personally.
Yeah.
Could you remember that statement? You remember my money already, so I'm gonna come for scrape?
Yeah, man. I just said they make it
All right. I will say no more.
Yeah. People don't know the half of it here. They don't know the half of it, Jamaican people. And with this election, I would never vote. I would never cast my vote because I don't want none of them.
Well, you can't come Jamaica for now, so even if you could vote even if you wanted to vote, you are one of the only persons that I would say do not come here.
No, I don't have an intention of coming back, really.
Right? Now is not a good time until the story gets out,
Yeah.
and I mean, get it on an audiobook, because you need to. This story needs to be told, because it is not going to be a pleasant part of our history, but we need to expose these perpetrators.
Yeah. But I want you guys, everybody who have a chance, just go on the website, and I mean, you're going to weep.
I found it and saved it just now. It's very long.
Very long, very a lot of information. It took me almost 1 year because a lot of people.
I think she needs to talk to Karen Cross.
No, man, hold on.
Cross and-
Hold on. Give her a chance to say what she's saying.
Let me make you finish now.
Yeah, what I'm saying is it took me a while to go through, because even in going through it, it was traumatic for me as well. And, because in just going over what the people went through, I mean, when I say a big man with tears running down his face, and who was it? There's one of the, I don't remember his name, one guy who was FINSAC, and Levy from, and
it's good to let her know that you're cracking up.
Before I'm cracking up, Mr. Buzz.
Yeah. Are you hearing me better now?
Yeah.
Yeah. What happened is that Levy, he decided to move his family from Jamaica because he couldn't deal with it anymore. And he had his young children, when I say young, in the just start working and so on. And he just didn't want them to do it in Jamaica, so he took them overseas. And then a friend of his died in Jamaica, and he decided to go back home to go to the funeral. Went to the funeral the evening, on his way back to his house, he decided to stop. He was leaving Jamaica to go back overseas the next day, and decided to stop at a friend of his who had a bar down there. Him come out of the car, and no sooner him come out than a gunman hold him up and shoot and kill him. Then his wife, she was in Miami at the time, came home, buried him, and had a heart attack immediately after.
Oh my.
Both wife and husband gone. Just like that. This is all of these will come out so the public realize the trauma that people went through. Trauma, physical trauma. It just to see adults. And this is one of the things. As a matter of fact, remember when they were fighting over how much the commissioners wanted more money and their politicians don't want to pay them the money. Kent Gammon offered, he was the last attorney that started representing us and never charged. He offered to help that, to get that report out free of cost. Free of cost, before they even paid the last amount of millions to them. And they refused. They refused. Okay? So this is our government. Have nothing to do with them. No want nothing to do with them. But you guys, we can link up again. You guys look on the site and just go through it, and a lot of information. All there's one of the things that I have there.
This was some question I can ask her now.
Man, it was a pleasure having her here, man. If she can visit as many of these sites that you see and make the Jamaican people understand the nature. What I've been telling people all along now, the nature of what happened in our country. We need the citizens of Jamaica to hear this and put understanding to it. That Mark Golden, Peter Bunting, who we know today, who's benefited from such a devastation, should never get the chance to run and talk about them and lead this country.
Open discussion. Can Can we just pause a bit, Squitiad?
Yeah,
Open the
certainly,
floor for
certainly.
those who want to ask questions. So
Yes,
just
yes.
in case
Certainly,
anybody
no
is
problem.
interested.
No
Yeah,
problem,
yeah.
sir.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah, man. Anybody else want to ask Miss Buzz any question?
Why? Squitty, me think she, boy, it's like a meet up with her. I suppose it's like a meet up with her. The pain, you feel the pain where you feel and a meet physically happen to. But you know, there's a next lady where we think she needs to speak to and she would have pushed it out there deeply, a lady called Karen Cross.
Name, who is she?
Karen Cross is
I think 411 is that
411.
better.
Oh, she's 411. Okay.
No, 411 is
Karen Cross
different. They know each other, but 411 is a lot more investigative than Karen. So,
And JP,
as I was suggesting to you, Miss Buzz,
Yeah.
I think an audio book is very good to have because when you have it both in written as well as audio, even God forbid tomorrow morning your eyes close, your story lives on, and not just your story, but the stories of all the others who have suffered at the hands of this under this great injustice. And so, what I'm appealing to my fellow Jamaicans, especially on the other side, who have tried to make light of it and to try and shift blame and absolve the man who, by his own admission, says that he was the architect of FINSAC. That have a conscience, please. This could have been your mother. This could have been your father. This could have been your brother, your grandfather. Persons have taken themselves out of this world as a result of this serious injustice. You have heard for yourself. You know, we always knew about the Phillips and his wife. We always knew about it. It's just that I have chosen before not to mention it too much because Phillips is basically on his way out and I didn't want to smear him, even though he has smeared himself by being involved, right? But, you know, it kind of opened my thinking now into wondering if that's part of the reason why people have an offshore account and doesn't want to put anything here in Jamaica. And it makes me start to wonder if the Jamaica Refinance Company is in any way connected to the architect of FINSAC. You know, it makes you wonder. You know, and
Yeah, well, I personally, years ago decided I don't even open a bank account in Jamaica. I refused to.
Well, Bruce Golding has changed the system based on the policies that he had put in place. In fact, it was under his watch that the high interest rate that previously existed, because if you can recall that during that period of time before it ballooned out of control, the average interest rate was about 24%, right? Under Audley Shaw, after the debacle of the 90s, interest rate came down to an average of 12%. But as you rightly stated, that overnight, and I'm glad you're here, ma'am, so that people can hear for themselves. Overnight, sometimes some interest rate will skyrocket from the rate that you got it of 24% to even over 100, 110%, 120% overnight. You know, and when we
the bank don't even advise you. They don't even tell you that this is what is happening.
You know why they couldn't advise you? Because they know that what they were doing was illegal.
Yeah, man. Criminal.
So if they were going to advise you, they would have had to put it in writing and they would have opened up themselves to be sued.
I see.
Right?
Okay. That is the legalities of everything that they were doing.
Right. So they were trying to circumvent the system.
Yeah, I have a feeling that that's the reason why Clark left the finance ministry. Because when he realized really what happened, being a finance minister, even though he was not the person at the time when FINSAC was taking place, he's going to get a bad record for it. Because remember, he had made a statement that he was going, the report coming out, and I think they stopped him. And at that point, they realized what was really going on in politics. I think.
Elements of it is
Nigel Clark was offered a job by IMF. That's why he left the finance ministry.
Yeah.
I was looking at job too. And them just offering
No,
that.
he was offered a job by IMF and he took the position.
right. Ma'am, there's a thing known as the FINSAC archives where elements of what you mentioned is in it. So it was actually posted online as opposed to excerpts.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yes, ma'am. It is actually posted.
I must
You know,
find
it's
out.
just that it's important to have different source documents, different sources by which it can be it can be pulled from. But
Archive was supposed to have taken the place of the report.
right, and the report. Remember, the report would have been condensed.
Yeah, yeah.
Would be more detailed.
Joshua,
Right.
the report was not completed enough. It's just a testimony
Right.
and so on. They didn't write the
Right,
final
that's
report.
what I'm saying. Right, because the report would have been a summary of everything that took place. The archives now would be a blow by blow thing.
Well, I, having attended all the inquiries and just watching the reaction of the commissioners and the legal entities that were there represented, we realized that there was one particular time I remember where they had to shut down the inquiry and all of them go out into the passageway to talk because I don't remember whose testimony it was and when they realized what was really happening. But they couldn't say anything. They couldn't do anything. They weren't in a position to even to take sides or give an opinion. And that's, that is what I read into the body language of the commissioners.
Miss Buzz, if you're a part of an inquiry as one of those as a commissioner, by right, it's not to take sides, it's to make an objective assessment. So if anyone is going to be a commissioner and in any inquiry, irrespective of which one and whether it be political or otherwise, and take sides, then they should not be there.
Yeah, well, we recognize the body language because after the testimony, they all left the room and went out and spoke privately among themselves. They didn't stay in the room and do it.
Squitty, now you know why this Caribbean Court of Justice, we can't trust it.
Yeah, that's why them
What the lady said.
Caribbean Court. We don't need that.
You heard what the lady said though. Everybody colluding and taking up for each other, and we're talking about Caribbean Court of Justice when everybody is friend.
And even the Constitution, what they claim, they can't claim have a constitutional change without it. I think this new constitution they claim they're forming is to cover. It is going to have issues in there that will cover up what the politicians do.
I don't think so, because this is a broader constitution. This is a broader cross section of people. Take for instance, you have a legal advisor who is a lawyer from Canada. He has nothing to do with the Caribbean. I think before we make such a statement in relation to the Constitution, we should at least take an opportunity to read it first before we make that kind of statement.
Has it been made public?
It is accessible online.
Oh, okay.
Miss Buzz, somebody is asking who was the person that lost 7 properties.
Not 17, 17.
17.
Yes, his name was Harold Ramsey.
Oh. So where is he now?
He died. That's what I say. He lied down in his bed and wouldn't eat. And just
Man, okay, 17 properties.
yeah.
Oh man.
Hardware store and a construction company.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. As a matter of fact, when he was banking in the bank, he was named Customer of the Year for about 5 years straight,
Yeah.
you know? And then all of a sudden, everything just gone.
What bank was that you used to deal with?
I don't remember. That was all looking.
Oh, ja.
Yeah.
The Harlem people, you know, they pass. Them blood upon them people are shoulder right now. We are trying to look to come around Jamaica. And them same set of people, we're trying to keep power right now.
You know,
Hold on.
the certain people just have to leave in the hands of God here.
Yeah.
Because I tell you something, when this whole thing started, I had just returned to Jamaica. I lived 21.
Somebody want you to type his name but then get the name clear.
Whose name?
The gentleman with 17 business.
Oh.
HAROLDRAMSAY.
Type it.
Harold Ramsey.
Harold Ramsey.
Alright, Spitty, Miss Buzz.
Yeah.
There's one thing I learn and know in life, you know. God don't leave nothing undone. And all these tears that y'all cried and all who pass, all of them gonna face reaction for it.
Harold Ramsey, yeah.
I know that.
All of them.
I had a couple of spiritual experiences myself during the whole thing because, as I said, I wasn't, when it all started, I had just returned to Jamaica. My kids were just graduated from college and I decided to go back. And when I was on Monty Perkins, I remember talking to my brothers and sisters on the phone. They used to tell me that they're here. It sounds like someone else is on the line with me, like my phone's been tapped. So I said, I wouldn't doubt it anyhow. My telephone lines went down, my internet service and everything. And I called telephone company and they sent a guy up here on a Saturday morning. He came up and he went through and he couldn't find anything. So he looked at me and he said, tell me something. Would your phones be tapped? So I said, probably, I don't know why, but probably. He said, why? Who are you that it should be tapped? So I said, I'm president of the Association of FINSAC. He said, oh. He said, okay. And he locked down everything. He said, I'm going away, I'll get some information and come back to you later. And he left. Apparently went down to telephone company and came back and said to me, you have been tapped. Your phone has been tapped. He said, and it has to be somebody from high up into the company because the key for that room where they would have to go in and get it done is only certain people have it.
I'm going in.
Yeah. So based on that, my family was getting a bit nervous because I was calling names on the air, and it's because I have documentation for that. But at the same time, I'm remembering the people following me, going to the inquiry and so on. So I have a prayer room. When we threw us out of the house, when we moved to another house, I set up a prayer room in the middle of the house. And every morning I go in there and pray, every morning. And when them start getting nervous for me, I just go in there one morning and say, Lord, if it is your will that I continue to do this, please send me a sign. And you won't believe it, immediately I say, send me a sign. I hear my phone with a text message coming in. And I finish my prayers, and when I check the message, it says, have not I commanded thee, be strong and of good courage. Be not afraid, for I am with you whithersoever thou goest. The person who sent it to me was not in my contact because it was just a telephone number it came from. So I called the number because I didn't know who it was. And I got a voicemail. The lady identified herself. I wrote down her. And she said, leave a message. I didn't want to leave a message. So we waited a couple of hours and then called back. And a lady answered. And I said to her, my name is Yola Gray Baker. Do you know me? She says, no, where are you from? I said, I'm in Kingston. She said, I'm in Portmore. I said, you don't know the name because I figured she probably hear me on air. And she says, no. So I said to her, you sent me a text message this morning. Where did you get my number? And she just said, oh, like she frightened. She said, oh, I was doing my devotion and the Lord gave her the number and tell her to send that message.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, man. These things are real, man.
Yeah. So from that day, I have no fear at all. But
Yeah, man.
my children won't allow me to stay there doing this now, you know, and I don't want to be stupid, so that's why I decided to do it. But,
Hey, Scooty, one moment, Miss Buzz. Scooty, how much longer are you going to be online?
By the online, maybe the next 4 hours, man.
All right. I'm gonna call you back. I'm gonna take a call and then come back online. I'm not leaving.
All right.
I'm Squitty. Squitty, you remember what Gio did I tell you, say, when him go a pop in, then put him on to the councillor when he Oliver Clough. Oliver Clough was an MP before.
Yes. Yeah.
And him, it's like a dead story because them work with them one another. Him already know about it already before the youth even got to him. You understand me? So from it have something to do with FINSAC. It is no justice for him. Saying so, yes, so the cruelty what them do, the same wicked people them right now are campaign through the country to take over the country, brother.
yeah,
Yes,
well,
just imagine.
I tell you something, you know, the guy that bought our house, when we had asked and throws out. My husband was going, he has a flatbed truck because he used to use it for the police to pick up vehicles on the road.
Yeah.
And one morning, about 2 weeks after them throw us out, he was going downtown and passed the same man in car broke down on the side of the road. And my husband stopped and asked him, do you need some help? And then tell him, so the in-car breakdown or whatever, and say, you want it, you take it somewhere because I have my truck, I can take it. And he took the offer and had my husband take the truck for him with no charge at all. No charge. Well, I tell you something, the morning when they throw us out of the house, I'm Catholic, and I normally in the morning do my devotion before I do anything. And I have a picture of the Divine Mercy, which is a picture of Jesus with the rays coming out of his heart. And it is believed in the Catholic Church that whenever you pray the Divine Mercy, whatever you ask for, you will get it. You just have to go to God and ask him. And when I was leaving the house with the last set of things in my hand, a piece of paper blow out of my hand onto the ground, turn upside down, and when I lift it up and turn it over. It was a picture of the Divine Mercy. And I turned back. A guy was changing the lock on the door of the house, and I turned back and I pasted it onto the glass door. And then the guy looked at me and laughed and smiled. And I looked at him and said, nobody who lives in this house will live in peace. Trust me. Well, guess what? The man who bought it, 2008 is when they throw us out of the house. He has repainted it and do whatever. And right, he has put it up for sale. He hasn't put it up for sale in Jamaica. He has put it up for sale in the US, in Canada, in England, and it has not been sold. $85 million from 2011 or 12, no, about 2013, and put it up for sale. And all know it can't sell.
Wow.
Okay? Yeah. And as I don't know who Nicholas Manley is, if he's a relative of Michael Manley. I think he's a nephew or something like that. And he moved into the house with this guy because I think he was going out with the guy's daughter and they're moving together. And they moved when they realized, because somebody told me that the man said that if we want back the house, we can come get it. We tell him thanks, but no thanks. And Nicholas has moved out. He didn't spend long in there. He moved out when he realized the circumstances under which he acquired the house. So the man alone in there now and can't get it set.
Man. That's really wicked.
You know? I leave all of them to God. I don't mourn over it because as my husband on his deathbed, he looked into my face, he said, listen, I realize none of us came here to stay forever. It is what it is. I said, thank you very much. Now you're going. But yeah, it really took a toll, a heavy toll on him and all the people really that it happened. That's why David One can leave Jamaica. That's why all of that, even the attorneys will leave Jamaica. That's why Kent leave Jamaica. And Kent was heavy into the politics and JLP.
But Miss Buzz, I must really congratulate you for your strength.
But, I mean, I know it is to the grace of God, sir. It is the grace of God.
Yeah. Really strong.
Scotty, my son come back here. Now link Christian. Scotty, now link Christian come back. Now link Christian come back here. Yeah.
All right.
Yes, sir. It's the grace of God that carried me. And,
Yeah,
you know,
look, he's a God-fearing person.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And it wasn't that was not the only text. I got a text one morning that didn't come from any number. And it was, in this world you shall have tribulation, but be of good cheer. I have overcome the world. ... Jesus. That's it.
Next time reach.
Yeah.
Next time up in the box now. Mrs. Big One tap me there, man.
So went to a church in Florida. I was in the fashion business and went up to do a fashion show in Florida. And the person I stayed with asked me to come to church with her the Sunday morning. So I said, okay. And first time I go in there, and the pastor was a Jamaican lady too. And she come out and she looked me in the face. As she looked at my face, she just stopped and said, pointing at me and says, you need to listen to the voice of the Spirit. The Spirit will direct you. And it took me off balance. Why she said that, I didn't know her, to a point where I couldn't even ask her anything. But after the service, I went to her and I asked her, I said, how do I know it's the voice of the Spirit and not my own thoughts? She says, when that time comes, you will know. And when I went to my church in Jamaica and tell my pastor, I said, is this for real? He says, yes, but if people don't know Jesus, they will not understand. He says, this is how he speaks to you. You know, so I'm thankful for God. I'm thankful for him carrying me. I owe everything to him, masters and mistresses. Everything. I don't fool around with him at all. I go to him about everything. And I was happy that at the end my husband was in the same place because 2 days before he passed, when he woke up in the morning, he said to me, I went to the other side. I said, you went to the other side? What do you mean? He says, I went to the other side. So I said, who did you see? He says, my mother. And he started to cry. So at that point, I knew I could let him go. I said, that's very good. Now you know she's there to welcome you home. So just feel free to close your eyes and go. And he died the following morning, Christmas Day, actually.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Wow. So you in business today now, Miss Buzz? You still in business, or?
No, not anymore. What happened is that when I was doing a lot of traveling for the fashion thing, and when COVID hit, I didn't want to take the vaccine, so I decided I stopped traveling, so I had to give it up. I just stopped it.
Oh,
And
so you retire now?
If I,
You're retiree?
I'm retired now, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, man. Gotta go see you through, man.
Yeah, I tell you so. He has been there for me every step of the way. Trust me.
Yeah. God really has to see you through, you know. I've been through a lot.
Been through a lot, you know, because as I say, I felt at one time like I was carrying the burden for the 44,000 people. 44. You know,
You're really strong and you live your tell the tales.
to tell the tales, yeah.
So it emotionally and physically affect me. Lost hearing the story. Somebody just takes up in the box say Oliver Close now blind and can't see. The one that Gio went to for help. You hear that, Squitty?
You never know say blind. You never know say blind. Long time him blind and then they are leading around. Him blind now.
Yeah,
Who
yes,
is that?
blind.
Who
The
is
one
that?
who Gio
Oliver
went to.
Chloe. Him used to be a member
some
of
help.
parliament up in
Yes.
East Rural.
East Rural St. Andrew, yeah.
But I think him the councillor up until recently. So.
Yes. Yeah, because when him got to him, he was a councillor when he went to him, I think. Either he was an MP or the councillor when Gio said went to him.
And when tell Gio say,
Him only take statement and tell him say, I'll get the sort out for him, and from that him not hear about nothing. Because they're all friends. They are the same people. You understand? If him go to Oliver Cruz like him go to Peter Bunting. You understand me? You wouldn't get no justice. And these wicked people still want to come take over Jamaica. We're not supposed to allow them to do it. Them things are supposed to spread right across the country.
they always try to kill out the place. They always try, PNP always FINSAC is like FINSAC haunt them. And if I did ever one live or with over here attack something, see that's them over here run off their mouth and I cuss up and I go on. FINSAC haunts them. They don't like to hear the word FINSAC.
Naturally.
They don't
Naturally.
like to hear the word FINSAC.
Fidel, permit me to ask Miss Buzz a question here.
Go ahead. You may just share the live with your friend even.
Yes, but I was kind of busy, so
You're busy,
I
okay.
till now. But let me ask you real quickly because I'm coming on the front end of it. Miss Buzz, so what kind of business was you and your husband in?
My husband was in construction. He was a general contractor. He did a lot of commercial and government building for that matter. He put up a lot of the Bank of Nova Scotia in Montego Bay is his project. Mutual Life building is one of his projects. A whole lot of building, a whole lot. He has been in the business of construction for 52 years.
And just correct me if I'm wrong here, just for the benefit of the listeners. So I don't know what year this happened, but from what I gather from a Gleaner newspaper article, your husband had borrowed $10 million to complete the project.
Yes, because in the construction industry, the Master Builders Association in Jamaica was formed at the time that my husband had just started out because they have the different rules and regulations that govern the industry and that they could give advice to people getting into the industry. And the normal procedures when the contractors, they tender on a project, and if they are the one who win the tender, they have to have a security bond.
Yes.
Guarantee that they can complete the project, especially the size of depending on the size. And based on that, you go to the bank, you get the contract from the owner of the project, and you take it to the bank, and the bank will advance your funds to start the project off. And while you're going along, you're billing the owner, they pay you, it's going to the bank, they will take back their principal and their interest. And you get the rest of the money to run your business, to pay your employees and stuff. So he had a field employee size because he has 2, 3, 4 projects going on at any one time.
Yeah.
So he had his pay bill on a weekend or on a month end is at least 50 people, including the office personnel as well as out in the field.
Yeah, man.
So,
Yeah, but
business in your surround, man.
yeah, but what I wanna do ask you, Miss Buzz, and just for the listener, the benefit of the listeners on the platform, is what do you recall the interest rate at which he borrowed and what year this was?
yeah, he borrowed at 18% interest rate.
18%.
18%, and it went up to 120 in a couple of months.
And this was what year?
Well, it's an ongoing thing. For example, it depends on why you're moving along and you get the project. But when the thing started, it was in 2007, 2008. Between 2006 and 2008, that's when the interest rate started really going through the roof.
So from 18% to 120%.
Yeah.
Wow, there was no way anybody could pay that back.
Exactly.
I wouldn't think.
Exactly. That's why I say he borrowed 10 million and he paid back 52 million, and then still said he owed 87 million.
Wow. Yes, that would have been impossible for anybody to pay back in a lifetime.
He lost 3 properties. He lost our home on Grosvenor Terrace, a lot up in Sherborne Heights, and an apartment complex in off of Shortwood Road.
So one of the stories that we have heard regarding this whole FINSAC fiasco is that people who borrowed and found themselves indebted, they made offerings to pay their loans, even more than but the government refused it. Do you know of that experience or anything that happened along that line?
Yeah.
Or is just a story?
Because on the website that I put a copy of a letter there, written on Miles Fletcher Gordon letterhead and signed by Sandra Minot Phillips. It was to Errol Campbell, manager at FINSAC, reprimanding him for giving information to the debtors and telling him under no circumstances to give any information to the debtors. We make up documents. David Wongton assisted us in making up documents to give to Jamaica Redevelopment, asking for statements of account. And neither the bank nor the Jamaica Redevelopment will give us statements of account. So we were just in wanderers because we don't know what was happening. It's after the fact that I started getting the documentation from the FINSAC office, at the Pegasus, that I learned most of this. And I kept getting the documents. I tell the secretary, I said, every document that I get, I want a copy of it. So I have boxes upon boxes of all these documents.
So the story then is true that people tried to make offerings to the government and those offerings were refused and their loans were eventually sold to some overseas company.
Yeah.
So but the question is, why wouldn't the government at the time, try to work with, you people were entrepreneurs, Jamaicans, building a...
Bank of Jamaica personnel testified, other bank managers testified that they begged and pleaded with Omar Davis, let us sit down with the debtors, let us sit down with them and find a way to work them out. And he refused.
Look here, the debt was sold to a Texan billionaire. A Texan billionaire, Dennis Jocelyn. I think some people said 8 cents within the dollar. Some people said a little more, but they didn't make that offer to the original owners of the property. They didn't give them a chance. They just sold all the debt to Dennis Jocelyn.
Yeah.
It is said that Jocelyn was kind of one of them who was willing to kind of listen to the
Yes.
people who are
I
FINSAC.
understand.
And I want to know what happened to Dennis Jocelyn?
Drowned. He drowned out in the Galapagos Islands.
Mysteriously.
Mysteriously, because I hear he was a good swimmer, excellent swimmer. But he did, I understand he did. He was willing to sit with the debtors and talk with them, and the government tell him no.
No, but remember, Carl Blight testified that in fact Carl Blight went to him and he said to Carl Blight, look here, I can't help you, have to go back. Somebody have to give him the orders to help Carl Blight. And so somebody in the PNP had to,
Yeah, I have Carl Blight's testimony on the website.
But I'm looking at a picture of you right now, Miss Buzz, at the medallion all when the lawyer Levy was trying to get the commission to subpoena PJ Patterson to appear. Because of the thermoplastic thing,
Yeah. And he wouldn't, he refused. He wouldn't. As I tell you, the Bank of Jamaica employees testified. They begged and pleaded with Omar Davis and other political members to sit down and talk with the debtors, let them handle it. And they refused. So I'm under the impression that there was a motive. They had a motive long before they came out and even declared FINSAC formally. There was cooking and concocting what to do and what not to do. I understand that I don't know if it's for sure, so I won't quote it, but I understand that Desmond Mackenzie, 14 properties he got. Okay. No, what would you be doing with so many properties?
That could be. We'd have to verify that. That could be people trying to say that other people got to make the story no one-sided. But at that time, with Sandra Minot being the lawyer, like it was just so mixed up, and even she was withholding the debtors. Explain the part where she was holding the debtors' information, Mrs. B. And didn't you try to get help from your family to pay them off, and they said no?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Remember?
I went to the bank manager, and at that point when he made offers that she said is out of her hands. Government had taken it over, and there's nothing they can do. Yeah. You see, so it was all I think a cooked up. Yeah.
Why you think Sandra was blocking the debtors' information? Why you think she did that?
I personally believe that she believed that in getting anything out in the public, it may lead to people finding out exactly what was going on behind the scenes. You see? And that is why people, there's one guy who worked at the Greener that I used to talk to a lot, and one morning I remember going down to Manor Park and seeing him in Manor Park Plaza, literally begging. So I came out of my car and I looked at him and I said, what the heck are you doing out here? What are you doing, begging? He said, miss, then let off the whole away that used to do with the FINSAC thing from Greener. Yeah. So I don't know what it is that was supposed to be behind the scenes and taking things there, but I know Anthony Levy had learned a lot of things because he was, involved in thermoplastic. And what happened with thermoplastics, is they're borrowing money. They had a lot of business going, everything. I mean, I've literally put on the website the whole thermoplastic issue and what went on. And when John Desulme, the bank manager, called him one evening to come to a meeting at the bank. And when he went there the morning, all the bank managers said to him, how are things going? Are you getting your orders out and so on? And he said, yes, he had just gotten things on schedule for going out. And that was it. So when John left there, he said wondering to himself, why did he call into the bank to go ask just that? He could have asked him on the telephone. What he found out when he went back to his office, he was locked out. They had sent the receiver into his office while he's on his way to the bank. And he couldn't get back in the office. They locked him out and had police at the gate. So he asked one of the policemen to go inside, and his the guy Donor was in there, the receiver, and asked to go in there and get his briefcase because he had his medication and his other documents he needed in the briefcase. And Donor sent a message to him, F his briefcase and his medication. He wouldn't give it to him. And I tell you something, that same Donor, if you ever know how much money he took out of thermoplastics, because what he was doing was overpaying himself because he realized nothing was being monitored. Whole heap of money he collect out of it. You hear?
Wow.
I know a lot of these people going to be left in places that I don't want to go. So when they come to them, I hope they can all rest in peace. And not in peace.
Yes.
Little boys, you know about the St. Catherine farmer, Llewellyn Bailey?
The what? Yes.
Yeah.
Llewellyn, yeah.
Bailey, yeah. Criminal unfair treatment, yeah, by creditors and
Miss Buzz.
the man said, his loan, his debt grew from 320 million in 1996 to over 1.5 million by 2008, despite several payments.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Then it's like the bank wasn't keeping any record. Because
Miss Buzz, are you convinced that is so, or was it deliberate in order to do what they?
I think they saw the opportunity and decided to use it.
Let me give you an example. Are you aware that one of the principles of the beneficial company,
yeah,
right, here in Jamaica, he was on a board, and I want you to follow me because I'm trying to say without saying too much.
Yeah.
He was on a board of DBJ.
Yeah.
Right? He was the person in charge at the time, and he gave recommendations for shares of a particular company to be sold. I think it was the same DBJ to the company that he was a principal of. And then 3 weeks later sold it back and made a killing.
Yeah.
Right? Now, the reason I use that as the example because none of these people do anything by chance. It's with a view to benefit.
Benefit, exactly.
Right?
That's why I say that that's what they concocted. They sat down and had meeting at them pals' house on the weekend to decide who wants what, when, where, and how.
But Joshua, that was before FINSAC, that was from about 1991, That was before the crisis started fully,
Yes.
You can see how far they're...
Yeah. All right.
Hold on, put up in there, Joshua. Miss Boyd, somebody asking about Miss Dixon. You know Miss Dixon?
Yeah, Valerie Dixon.
Yeah.
Who is she, Miss Buzz?
You know what happened to her and who was she?
While the inquiry was going on, and I never knew of her. It was after the inquiry, one day I got a call from her stating that she was FINSAC and she wanted to know, she was trying to get information from me as far as what was taking place, and I was telling her what was going on in the inquiry and so on. So what she wrote, she started her book, but what she did was basically information that I had given her because she had not attended the inquiry. So I filled her in on the information. Yeah.
But another thing, Lascelles, remember Lascelles Poyser?
Yeah.
He borrowed 9.8 million, from loan.
Is he still
I don't know, in 1993. And could you imagine the man, after losing how many of his property, the man still heard that he owed, after paying over 100 million, still and losing property, he still owes 113 million.
That was basic. That was basic.
Gotta go meet them people halfway doing
Just borrow
9.8 million. I'm looking at
Had and still 100 and had.
yeah, pay 100 and lose all the property them too.
You see, if we had known from the beginning exactly what was taking place, and that the people was using the titles to borrow money for themselves, we would have stopped paying. We wouldn't have continued paying because you're going to lose anyhow. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because we pay, and they collected more out of us till we reach the point where we couldn't even afford to eat.
Miss Buzz, I'm listening to you, and I'm not a legal luminary, but I'm hearing so many illegal activities that took place during that time that I'm wondering why, outside of Kent Gammon, why any other lawyer did not have balls enough to decide, listen, I couldn't care less. Even if it's career ending, three of us going to come together and represent these people because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, one of the Chief Justice don't inquiry.
Who?
Hold on. Joshua.
Yes, sir.
Remember what you said to Miss Boys to be careful because them people are mercenaries.
Mm-hmm.
Probably most of these lawyers' life were threatened. That's why they were afraid.
They can't wipe out the entire legal fraternity.
Joshua, the one that never want to drink the water.
No, man. Joshua is not only that thing. It's not only that thing.
Hold on, let me digest this, Mackie.
Yeah,
You
man.
said a while ago.
Yeah, man.
The one that
Pantan was here.
The one that never want to drink the water did big up in our case there.
So hold on, now you see the connection why I'm so close to you know who, because one was the advisor, the chief advisor.
One of the chief financial engineer.
Hold on, and he was also the advisor to the Minister of Finance and the major beneficiary. And then the person in charge of the inquiry. Hi!
So how did they go about
Continue, Mackie.
the changes to the what were you explaining? The financial Mrs. B, explain the changes that they did make.
You're wicked, man.
So the financial act.
Oh, the Money Lending Act.
The money lending act, yeah.
Yeah, what he did was change the wording to allow to make a redevelopment to charge interest, because prior to that change, unless you're a banking institution, you're not allowed. For if I come borrow money from you, you can't, if you're not a bank, you're not supposed to charge me interest or penalty. And we were being charged both penalty and interest. So she changed the Money Lending Act, allowing Jamaica redevelopment to take out all of the money as much as they can get.
Would we know? So that was taken before the Parliament, I'm assuming.
I don't know. All I know is that the documentation that came out at the inquiry showed that.
Remember they had the majority in Parliament for the right, and so the law is not a shackle, so you can do as you want to do.
You can just take it and run with it.
Right. I would, you know, Mrs. Buzz said something a while ago, and I want us to ponder carefully. The fact that this law was changed, for me, leave more questions than answers. And let me tell you why I say that. Because knowing how the Orange Brigade people operate, they don't do anything unless it's benefiting them financially. And it makes me wonder if they are either currently getting something from it, our chief architect, or they had gotten a one-off payment from it. And it also makes me wonder again if that trust overseas is still getting something out of it, or has ever gotten anything out of it. I'm just asking these questions.
I don't know.
Because why is it that you want to manage a country, but nothing for you is in the country?
You know? Exactly. That's a tangled web we weave when we practice to deceive.
Yeah.
Look here, Joshua, you know how the PNP have a way of corrupting, of getting what they want. You know that the Justice Peary Board was a commissioner on the FINSAC inquiry, and
Yes.
Omar, they came and took it to court, said he had a bad debt with NCB, so he can't take on the
No,
commission.
because he was too fair.
Yeah, so they got who they wanted, and they got Patrick Hilton. Remember, Patrick Hilton, after the man set up so NCB was sold, he then turned out and become managing director of NCB.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Oh. I tell you.
People
I
ain't
tell you. You know, Peter said something a while ago, that's pretty.
For money now, they want to come in the next FINSAC 2.0.
The man want sweep already, I want to sweep again.
Yeah. No, what that mean? Perkins always say that's how they make what that mean? They are not good at business, PNP, and that's what they
You
do.
can give Wizzy my box for now. I'll come back.
Yeah, man.
Maki, this have nothing to do with being good with business. That was intended to defraud people of their legal earnings so that you might enrich yourself.
No, what I'm saying, Joshua. That's what happened when the people, man, ran away the people in the 70s. Perkins used to said, the one there, Arnold Bertram, he got a great house down Central, you know. A lot of PNP got big house up on the hill for little and nothing. That's what took place in the 70s, and then they came back now in the 90s. And used the interest rate and wrecked every business. If anybody that borrowed money end up with problems, all right? And they wrecked the business and took over people's businesses and so on. The man actually cried about his radio station, KLAS. They took it and sold it.
I remember that.
I want to come back for the third rodeo now, right, Maki? They had the first and second rodeo, and they want to come back for the third rodeo now.
Good night. Just a little bit of news.
Nice.
Good night.
Just a little bit of news. I mean, in all my years of watching the most honorable Grand Jolis, this is the first I've ever seen him spoken the slowest. I mean, he delivered a knockout punch to Peter Bunty in just probably about 120 seconds.
Wrong timing, Wizzy. Wrong timing. I appreciate the news, but the timing is wrong, Wizzy.
Yeah, because we're going to with the FINSAC.
No problem. I will yield. You know I know how to do that. I will yield.
Yes, sir. We appreciate it. We can hear more about it, but the timing is wrong.
I don't have a problem, man. I will yield. You know me already. I will yield.
All right.
Let me listen on and pick up where you guys are.
Joshua.
Yes, sir.
You know, when I sit sometime and I'm scrolling through TikTok and I say, I'm like some Americans and so on come and say, boy, they came to Jamaica and Chinese own this. You don't see black people owning business. I have to type and look here, black people own businesses they came with a black prime minister and said black man time. Before that, black people owned banks, 7 indigenous banks. Black people, LOJ, First Life, Dial Life. Black people own insurance companies. Black people own hotels. Jamaica Grand, a lot of the hotels were owned by black people, by Jamaicans. Black people, homes, businesses, and so on. They were all taken away. So don't come and talk about, and then they come and I'm trying to make, boy, black people have own things. Black people own a lot in Jamaica, but they all got crushed and destroyed by bad policies.
Well, too black to succeed was what we heard.
The same black people bring them down.
Yeah, man. They say
No,
black
hold
man.
on, Scotty. Let's adjust that statement under the advice of the white man. Don't forget that.
Yes. And the same white man with the advice them come no one build the
Right. Don't forget that. Under the advice of the white man.
Them own a black man money and match on them own a black people. Come back
Remember, talk about
like it country like country.
With it, Jim Parks said all no Jim Parks can't understand how Mutual Life, they crashed Mutual Life. Mutual Life was over 154 years old.
Yeah.
And they crashed it.
But sir, Thermoplastic was a very old company, you know. For you youngsters who don't know, Scotty and myself know about Thermoplastic. Everything in plastic that we import from overseas now, you know, Thermoplastic was selling it in Jamaica, you know.
But that Spanish town, eh?
Right, a Spanish town out of Twickenham Park.
You know, man, Greendale.
Beside the police station.
Yeah, man. Every
Yeah.
plastic.
I mean, John literally they went to Switzerland to get the money. The whole thing is in the website. Thermoplastic issue. I put it all out there.
And this white man who was the advisor that mash up a country. Mash up a country. Want to come run it. Eh? And then you have these hypocrites. You know, Matanga. Scotty, again, me think you do God work, you know. Honestly, I'm not joking.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. You may not be a Christian, but you do God work, man. Let me tell you why I say that. The other morning, when the presence of God come down upon your life, I not know if you realize what happened.
Yeah.
Right? And the way I see you operate, you try and be fair. People don't like your feet, do you know? But you try your best and be fair.
Then?
Because people want you to take sides and want you to take for them side.
No,
and throw truth through the window.
Me not choose the wrong, I choose the right. Me not go on the wrong side. I got that. Yeah, man. Go on now. Continue, Joshua.
Joshua. What taught me, you know, the PNP, they had no clue about business. And with the high interest rates and so, there's a thing I'm looking at that was written by Danny Williams. He was talking about LOJ when it formed in 1970, and he was explaining what was happening, you know, while real businesses were out there struggling, people were just shuffling papers and making billions of dollars. And you who set up your business out there,
Can you imagine government do that to them own country?
Oh.
And claim how them is the best?
Miss Boss.
Yeah.
While Maki mentioned is that they don't know how to manage the economy, which is true. I don't believe that this happened because of a lack of knowing how to manage the economy. This was a deliberate strategy. One, to put people in trouble to the point where it gives them a legitimate reason to seize people's businesses and homes and enrich themselves. It's a deliberate strategy.
It has to be, because don't tell me that this out of the blue. It's like that. And there's so much bank in it, I do the same thing. It's got to be a strategy.
I have a tape right now, you know. Right? Sorry, I have a tape right now. And on that tape, one gentleman, I don't remember his name now, said he went and met with them. Right? He and Anthony Levy, I think, had gone to the office. And he met with them and made arrangement to make a payment. And while he made arrangement to go and make the payment, when he went back home, the moving truck was at his gate.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He just left the office, you know, and made the arrangement, and they tell him, yes, everything all right. And when he got back home, the moving truck was at his gate, emptying out his house.
You see how cruel they were?
Huh?
That's what I tell you.
You want to tell me that's not deliberate?
Of course it is. The morning when they came to that's why I tell you that the Spirit must have guided me, because the evening before, I left my house and went out to the supermarket and just collect a lot of boxes. It was a Friday evening, and then I came home and I called the helper and said, come, let us pack, because I think we're leaving here. I don't know why I feel this way. That was the evening before. And it's at 6 o'clock. When my husband came in and saw me packing, he said, what are you doing? I said, I'm packing because I think they're leaving here very soon. And then I walk away from it. So I just leave in 3 months in. And this morning, 6 o'clock, there was a knock at the gate. And my husband went down to see the man was standing at the gate. So he has seen him walking. I see the man walking away. They talk, the man walk away, and my husband on the way back in. So when he came back in, I said, who was that? He said, some man want to know of a name, if I know of a person who lives around here. And he said, I'm willing to bet you they're coming to throw us out of the house. And before I could have done it all, that was it.
Joshua.
Yes, sir.
Danny Williams said, you know, the high interest rate environment divide the business community into 2 distinct groups. One, what you have now, you have the cash rich, chasing paper profits in the stock market, government papers or high interest commercial papers. This is a distinct disincentive to productive enterprise. And then you have the banks and commercial paper borrowers unable to keep up with the high inflation, high interest rates, and the demand of the trade unions. So everything was screwed towards those who were involved in the paper, you know, making money off paper, not doing business. It was against the productive sector. The whole thing was against the productive sector.
You know,
which government?
Okay, go ahead.
Which government in any country really would want that?
Yeah. Destroy the entrepreneurial spirits of the people.
Maki, I'm listening to Miss Buzz, and for years I had a particular picture in mind and a particular view. But now I'm going to modify that view, and I'm going to share what the view is first. For years I thought it was just the fact that people were scared to reinvest in Jamaica as a result of FINSAC. And that is true. But in addition to that, I also think now, listening to Miss Buzz and what took place, and listening to the article that you're reading, that it was also very deliberate to discourage businesses from coming in. Why? Because these money that they were borrowing, these local debts that they were accruing by floating government bonds, was enriching them so much that if businesses started pouring back in Jamaica, if business confidence increased, then what it does, it reduces the need for internal debt. Right? And that is why Now we understand why is it that that white man is telling the current regime, the current government, not to pay down the debts of us. Because if the debt is not paid down as quickly, then what happens? It reduces the need for borrowing, and these government bonds, high-yielding government bonds that were being floated, will no longer happen. But if we have a need for these things, then you can float it, and you'll have a legitimate reason to float it and enrich yourself even further on the backs of poor people. And no wonder he said he will not continue the policy, that exists right now if he comes in, because he wants to give us fit. And the finance minister warned us, FINSAC 2.0. The finance minister warned us. So Jamaica needs to be careful and listen.
Recently?
Yes, she warned us. She said we must be careful, right? Because he's putting forward some proposal that is going to sink the country. And the finance minister warned us and told us, Favour Williams, by the way, as gifted as Nigel is and was in managing this country, in terms of qualification, he's nowhere near Favour Williams in the area of economics and finance.
Wow.
Right? So he's bright.
She has warned them.
Pardon me?
Yes,
She has warned us. Right? Because and we better pay attention and take heed. Because this man's intention is to put us in a position where Jamaica will not recover the third time around. In fact, I tell you something, one out of the three ladies, I won't call her name, and if you know, you know. One out of the three ladies who were members for many years of the People's National Party, who is out there now really being patriotic, told us that she got wind of a message that was in our WhatsApp group that this white man is a part of, that says that they will mash up the economy and fix it back in 4 years.
Oh.
One of the three ladies said that.
Joshua, sorry, Joshua.
What do you to mash it up?
Squitty, Squitty, me I couldn't hear put up talk here. Miss Chuck, they want a piece of conversation. Finley,
Now I'm there already.
Thank God you're there, my big brother.
This boss.
You keep quiet. But hold on, Mackie. Make Chucky wait, and then we can talk after.
Now you see, so my time when I am on this platform and I speak of the damage of FINSAC, I have recall Miss Buzz's story so many times. I have told your exact story, madam. I have told it. I am only happy now that some people are hearing it from you yourself. I have told people for years. I've been telling people about the danger, the damage that FINSAC did to Jamaica. Right? I am happy now that some people are literally hearing it from your lips. Right? You who lived it personally. Right? And people know, some people can now understand that I was not speaking political, I was not lying, but I was just telling people stuff that they didn't understand. Right? We speak, I think they speak of the policy of the government papers a while ago. It was one of the worst thing any government could ever do to its country when it encouraged little people with money. Said, don't invest in the country.